Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Now Selling, episode 3 with Chip McCabe. I am, of course, joined by my co-host and all-around real estate superstar, Ryan Baker. Ryan, how are you?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm like a bottle of Diet Coke with a Mentos just dropped in it. Fizzing. That's what I am, mate.
That's a description.
Fizzing. Because we have got an absolute superstar of a guest joining us here today. It's a man that needs no introduction, but you know, Ryan, that's not how we do things
We have to
on the
give
Now
the
Selling podcast. There has to be an introduction.
Here we
So,
go.
ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in because we're about to go on a little bit of a Here's Your Life. Started an illustrious career in real estate at 18 years of age. I believe PAing for his father and another legend of the game.
I don't know about PA.
Bob Bell. Don't know about PA?
yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of?
but yeah.
We'll get into it. Yeah. Within a few years, ranked in the top 2% of real estate agents in the country, joined by his brother Elliot, went on to form the Kemeys Brothers brand and also go on, as a duo, to win numerous real estate accolades and awards. Oh, it gets better, Ryan. At the age of 23, went out on his own with his family to establish Ray White Kemeys Brothers, and in doing so became one of the youngest business owners within the Ray White Group. He went on to grow that company from 4 to 40 staff, and that business has now sold over $1.7 billion worth of real estate. In addition to that business, if you check his LinkedIn, like every good journalist should, which I did this morning, thank you, Ryan.
He's prepared.
You'll notice that he's also involved with 5 other companies, 2 of which are property portfolios that he's been involved with growing and running for the past 14 years. In 2019, he ventured into the wonderful world of football, a sport that he holds very dear to his heart, taking on the head coaching role at Wainuiamata. In doing so, he took out the league, got them promoted for the first time in 25 years. He then took his talents to Wellington Olympic, where for the last 3 seasons, he's won back-to-back Central League titles, the last 2 of which he was the head coach. Last year won Central League Coach of the Year, and most recently, Ryan, would you believe it, he just took out the National League Championship. He is a great mentor, an even better friend, but to me, he'll always be my brother from another mother, Rupert Kemeys. How the hell are you?
Good, mate. Does everyone get an introduction like that, or is it because you're feeling bad, Chip?
Why would I be feeling bad?
I've actually got a question for you. So,
I'm not used to this.
Straight into it. He's firing back.
can you remember a little podcast we used to have, Chip? A few years ago. It's called The Friday Shout.
I do remember
We
it.
would sit around, drink some beers. What was that podcast about?
It was a property podcast.
And
I
this
think.
is-
This is a property podcast.
And now you've got...
I have got a new host. Yes,
and now I'm a
right.
guest, so I'm not co-hosting anymore.
No.
When did that happen?
So, I tried to contact your people for
Okay.
season 2,
Yep.
but I think it just fell on deaf ears. So you have been
Might have
very
gone to
busy.
junk mail, mate.
I mean, mate, you are.
That's all good, man.
Look, what I've just read off there, you are busier than a cat bearing shit on
I
concrete.
just
mate.
noticed that you didn't mention the Friday Shout because you didn't want me to bring it up. But
To be fair, that should have been on the list of accolades.
Exactly.
Sorry, actually, just rewind. Grew that company from 4 to 40, sold $1.7 billion in real estate, but most importantly was my co-host on our previous property podcast, The Friday Shout.
the best property podcast you've ever done.
Absolutely. The best so far, yes.
So far.
This episode hasn't been released yet, so we'll leave it up to the
Decent.
people.
Let's go.
Mate, you're an incredibly busy person. As I said, first and foremost, we appreciate your time here, mate. It's wonderful to have you back
worries.
down in the Kemeys Brothers studios. Do you like what we've done with the place?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, we've just, kind of taken over me and Ryan here, haven't we, mate? We've just
Yeah,
kinda
mate. On the way.
made
On
it
the
our
way.
own. Made it
We've
our
got
own.
some plans.
Mate, we are going to have so many listeners tuning into this, and they all want to know. They want to know about. I want to get into the football. Obviously, I want to get into the business side. But do us a little favour, mate. Can you take us back? Start around high school. Like where did you go to school? How did you get into real estate? Just to give us a little bit of a journey down into the old time roots.
Geez, that's going back a fair way now. I'm getting pretty old. Grew up in the hut,
Yep.
obviously with my brother Elliot. and my oldest brother Gareth. Went to school. Eastern Hutt was the primary school. Then we're on to Hibs up in
Great
Upper
school.
Hutt.
Great
Nice,
school.
nice.
Great school.
Yeah, good school. Yeah, it was a good school.
Say a few things.
Good education. Then straight into it with the old man into real estate. So,
What were you doing before you got into real estate? Because I think, did you spend a little time down south?
Yes, I went down south to Otago University, a few beers, decided marketing wasn't really for me. Then gave that up. Then I was a Hell's Pizza delivery driver. One of
Excellent.
the best in New Zealand.
Fastest ever?
Got fired. Well, they didn't actually fire me. They just changed my shift all of a sudden to 3 hours on a Saturday night.
Okay.
That I was doing about 20 hours, and then all of a sudden I looked and it's 3 hours on a Saturday.
That's a good indicator that things
So I
aren't
don't
going
know,
well.
Technically, I never went back.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually get fired, did I?
No, I think that's just quitting, isn't it? Or just not turning up?
No, I don't quit, Chip.
Don't quit.
There
I love it. We're going to get
There
into
it
that.
is.
We're definitely going to get into that.
Might have quit that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there into real estate, yeah.
And so I mentioned it briefly, but what was your first role in real estate, mate? Obviously working in the hut. Your father had been in the game for a while there. What were you doing?
I was my dad's little bitch.
What was that like getting into the industry at that age as well? Because obviously now there's a lot of younger people in the industry.
Yeah.
But at that time, kind of was it the older generation that were in the real estate? Like at 18
Oh,
years
yeah,
old,
yeah,
even
yeah.
18 years old now
Yeah.
is quite young to get in the industry.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about it.
Yeah, big time. I think iPhones weren't really a thing then. There was
Yeah.
3 computers that we all shared in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because what are we
pretty old
talking?
school.
Far out.
2006, 2007, 2007?
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, 2007 was the first year, but yeah, I always remember a guy, Terry Dooley, so he's a legend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sat next to him, and he got an email, and he's there, and he's like, mate, if they're not going to call you, they don't want to buy it. And then you just delete the email. But you look back how long ago that was, I imagine doing that now. So, but that's how much times have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was just phone calls.
Because
And,
you've spoken about buyer books and all sorts of stuff that you got to fish through
Oh,
and
yeah,
pick
yeah.
buyers up in the cars and take them
Yep.
around. I mean, we still do that, but back in the day, that was just kind
Yep.
of the main thing that you had to do, right?
yeah. And we used to call up buyers and be like, oh, Ryan, where are you looking? Yeah, Petone, mate. Oh, okay, I'll mail out some pamphlets to you. And then you'd mail them out. And
Yep.
you used to do little notes, and then in 3 days you'd ring them up. You got the pamphlets, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the pamphlets. What do you reckon? So now, you can just do emails. And just, it's a lot easier. But
Well, it's interesting, and it's, there's going to be a lot of real estate agents that are listening to this, and, you're talking about a time before the tech boom, really, in terms of the industry, real estate industry, no social media. Like, there's no, I'm going to be...
no, they got banned in our office because they said it was a terrible thing for our productivity. So
There you
Really?
go.
yeah.
There
I
we
mean,
go.
you're not on the video, you're not on the gram, you're not on the Facebook. It's big print in the papers.
Yep.
I remember, and then also just good old-fashioned real estate. What did Bob Bell say to you, though? Because this is a good test to those that are listening, which would still work today. I think it was something about the appraisals. What was it about the appraisals? Go and get...
I think it was 20 a week.
20 a week.
Yeah, he's like, go
20
get
a
20 a
week.
week if you want to be successful.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And then I was 18 and I was like, Bob was one of the best agents in the office. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to listen to him. Shouldn't have listened to him. 'Cause worked out. He
Listen
says
to
a lot.
some of his things.
He says a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You listen to some of what Bob said.
But then I came
Yeah,
back 2 weeks later and I was like, yeah, Bob, I've been doing 20 appraisals. And he was like, really?
Yeah, he's like... I didn't-
He's like,
the
really?
only
And then
one
I
that's
showed
ever
him and he was
listened.
like, holy, how you been doing? I was like, I've just been knocking on everyone's doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
just went out and
nice.
did that. But I think that was a bit of being naive as well. So.
What was your
Yeah.
process when you were knocking on the doors? Were you doing like full, or were you just like offering
Oh,
anything you could, just hustling?
I had no idea what I was doing. I was 18, mate. I was just, I'm Rupert, and I looked like I was in school still because we had these red jackets at my old company.
Of course.
So I looked like I was a high school student and just asked them, I was like, you want me to value your house? And I think half the time they just felt sorry for me.
Yeah, right, mate, come on
What's
in.
this kid knocking on my door at 2:30 on a Thursday? I'm like, yeah, all right, get on in. So I just do that and write the details down and, yeah.
And so you must have got a bit of a roll on. So sooner or later you get a listing, right?
Yeah.
Or were you just processing listings for your dad and Bob and?
I was doing that for maybe about a year, I think. It's
Yep.
going back quite a long time. But I remember the old man sat me down one time. I think he was paying me, I think it was like $230 a week or
That's
something.
huge money.
Yeah.
That's
Big
huge money, mate. That's
Yeah.
before
Massive.
the GFC too.
Big
so-
wedge.
Yeah.
But then, I remember one day I think he just knew I was taking the piss a little bit. And
Yep.
he just goes, that money's not going to happen anymore.
Yep.
You got to sell yourself. And I was like, oh, all
Yeah,
right.
it gets real.
And then that's when it ramped up for me because I realised I had to make money for myself. I couldn't do it. So that's when I went out and
It's a sink or
and did
swim
Nice,
moment,
mate.
isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
because it's the age-old thing. If you've ever entered into the industry and been on a retainer, or if you've been on, you're not as pumped as what you are when it's I've got to put food on the table.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm going to do that.
You've just got to make it work, right?
You've got to make it
Yeah.
work,
Yep.
commission only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about getting your first listing. and how that felt, and then talk to me what happened when you got your first commission check.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's a story here.
Oh, I've heard it. That's a great story. I really want to.
Yeah, there's a little house down in Moira, actually. I think I met the people at doing someone's open home that I begged an agent to do the open homes, and then sold a little auction down in Moira. I was buzzing and got the first commission, and as you do, went out and bought bongo drums.
Bongo drums.
Now, can I ask though, in the lead up to this, we spoke about Hibs, obviously, Eastern Hearts. Throughout your school time, career, what have you, were you ever a big drummer? Like, was music?
No, I played the old bass, mate.
Yeah, played
slapping
the
the
bass.
bass.
Slapping the bass.
Did a bit of that, bit of guitar.
Yeah.
Bongos though weren't my thing.
Why bongos?
And I don't know what the hell was going for. I look back now, I'm like, idiot. I've done a lot of that in my life.
Can
I
you
look
remember your
back.
first commission check? How much? What are we talking? Couple grand?
No,
2
I
grand,
couldn't.
3 grand, 4 grand?
I think it might have been 5, 6 or something.
It's not bad. That's not a bad
not
number
bad.
for
Yeah,
18,
that's good.
19 years of age.
$5,000 bongo drums.
Bongo drums. Did you spend the whole thing on bongo drums?
Nah, I can't remember. But I remember, going back to my flat, thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be like a Rasta bongo guy or something.
Yeah.
And then I hit them a couple of times, and I just had this thought in my head.
You did have dreads though.
How
What am I doing?
Yeah.
So then I took them back, got a guitar, played that once, never played it again.
So you traded in the bongo drums,
Yeah.
got the guitar,
Yeah.
played the guitar once.
No, once or twice.
Once
yeah.
or twice. Did
Yeah.
you sell the guitar or did you keep the guitar?
I can't actually remember.
Can't
no,
remember.
no,
But there
no.
you go. First commission check.
Yeah.
You're young. You get a whole bunch of money. You do
just
dumb
wanna-
shit with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Bongo.
What point did it click where you were like, okay, this is actually I can make a career out of this?
Yeah.
Was that within that first year, or did it take a couple of years after that?
I think once I started selling, it was probably in the first 3 or 4 months. I kind of started selling 2 or 3 properties, and that money started coming in, and then I was feeling like, oh, this is a bit of successor, and
For sure.
then started being like, oh, I could actually make a career out of this, and
Yeah.
it gives you a bit of kind of like confidence once you do your first couple of sales, and you realise, oh, I might actually be all right at something.
Yep.
And then that's kind of when you shoot up and keep going.
100%, because I reverse engineered it at 23, I think it was, when you started Ray White Kemeys Brothers, 18 when you started. So within 5 years of being in the business, in the industry, I should say, you've gone off, started your own business, and as I said, within that time, also reached the top 2% of real estate agents in the country.
Crazy.
What was the drive behind that, mate? Like, was it something that someone had said to you at school, or did you just wake up one day and you go, I'm going to go be the best?
Yeah, I don't really know.
Very cool.
Is it just a feeling you wake up with every day, or
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
always want to be progressing? And
Just always wanted to be better and doing
Yeah.
something, and always felt like I needed to be chipping away, and
yeah,
it was just one of those self-driven kind of
yeah, nice mate.
things.
for
eh?
sure.
Yeah.
I would like to have some big, long-winded answer that, but
Some magic answer.
No, it's not. I was just, I think it's just once I do something, then I'm looking for the next thing to do, and it's you got to do something, don't you? You can't
You're a
just,
buzzer.
Yeah.
you got to be buzzing. You can't
Yeah.
can't just sit around doing fuck all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, like what's the point of that?
100%.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
find that that might be related to, like, for myself, for example, I can't sit still. It's probably ADHD or some
Yeah.
form of ADHD. Do you
Yeah,
think you
yeah.
have like something like that, like where you just kind of buzz out a bit and you can't sit still?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I think that's why we
Yeah.
connected so
Oh,
much.
yeah,
right?
big
'Cause,
time,
like,
yeah,
we just buzz. Just, I'm
Just
buzzing.
Yeah,
two
yeah.
fizzes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two fizzes.
Yeah, yeah.
Get the Mentos
There
out,
it is.
chuck them in the bloody
There
guy.
you go,
Like,
chuck it in
away
the
we go.
coke. There you go.
Yeah. No, you got to be doing stuff, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, so we're at professionals. Sorry, we'll edit that part out. We're at your previous. No, we keep it in there. You're at your previous
Yeah, it was
workplace.
great. It was great there.
You're killing it. You're nailing it. You get Elliot in.
Yep.
And then you guys form Kemeys Brothers, the brand within the brand.
Yep.
You're running that for a couple of years, and then you get the opportunity. Talk us through that. What happened, Ray White? What was the buzz there?
I think we were just kind of looking around. It was at a time where we were doing a lot of commission. We heard that a couple of other agents were on higher splits than us, and being 23, I'm looking around going, oh yeah, well I've got nothing to lose here. So then we started looking at different options, and I just randomly called up Ray White, I think.
Yep.
Well, he might have called me. I can't remember. The CEO.
Not the actual Ray White.
No,
just
definitely
FYI.
not. No, definitely
Been
not
gone
him.
for a
But Kerry and then we just had a chat about stuff, and then all of a sudden he was flying us up to Auckland, then to Australia, and we're like, oh, may as well do it. I remember walking past you, Chip, and then we jumped in the car, and I was like, oh, gonna open Ray White, mate.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, what am I gonna do? And I
That
was
was
like,
exactly.
Because how long had
that
you
is-
been in the industry for?
I had been in the industry. I
Wasn't
started
too
in
long.
November 2011, and
Yeah.
you went away for Christmas. I looked after your and Elliot's stock, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you got back, and literally I was in the industry for 3 months.
Look at that.
And you came back in January, and then you were like, oh, I'm buzzing. And you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to go, we've got an offer to go and open this Ray White. And then I said the exact thing. I said, what am I going to do?
Yeah, well, so come with us.
Yeah.
Like, all right then.
And I was like, okay.
Chip was keen as.
Yeah.
And then I remember you being like, because I was on a retainer program, and I remember you being like, we can't pay you a retainer.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how am I going to pay my rent? You're like, don't worry about it. Like, I've got to sleep out, come live in title with me, and 8 other humans before. That's what we did.
Now look at this fancy couch you're
Oh,
sitting
mate,
on, mate. It all worked out, didn't it? Look at that. You got your loafers on, mate. Look at that.
Started at the bottom. But no, and it was a very exciting time, obviously.
Yeah.
Is that something that you'd always thought about doing, was going out on your own, or was it just something that, came to you, the opportunity presented itself and you ran with it?
No, it wasn't like a big goal. It was just kind of reached the goal of being a good agent, and I was thinking, do I want to be number one agent? And I was like, not really. It wasn't really my ambition to be the number one agent. And I was like, oh, what's kind of next? I was like, oh, it'd be pretty cool to own a company. So that kind of sprung up, and then just chased that for quite a few years. And yeah.
And talk me through the starting months of that. I mean, obviously you're going right into well outside your comfort zone, because you're literally starting a business from scratch.
Yeah.
What was the pressure like? What was the stress like? Or did you just kind of cool, calm, collected? Because you did seem cool, calm, collected at the time. But then I was like, well, maybe just put on a brave face.
I just keep going back to being real naive. I just thought it was going to be real easy. Like, I knew it was going to be tons and tons of hard work. But if I thought now, if I looked at a 23-year-old and they were like, I'm going to go open a real estate company, I'd be like, idiot.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to fail. But I thought at the time, there's no way that I'm going to crush this.
Yeah.
And we sort of crushed it and sort of didn't. It took a hell of a long time.
Did, yeah.
But it was a lot of hard work, but we got there.
Yeah.
Love that.
I think you've nailed it. Like, it's funny now because the company's been around coming up 12 years. And, people, it's very easy to, from the outside look in and say, and people did at the time, oh, they've got so much help and this and that. But what people don't understand was that we didn't have any help. We were doing it all of ourselves. We're all supporting each other. We're all living out of each other's pockets, basically. And then, there was no quit in us, was there? There was no quit.
Yep.
We were just like, there's no way we're not going to make this happen.
No, it was the best times as well, because, you see the sales board and stuff these days in Hero and the listing board, it's out of control. But, I remember when we first had that, I think it was a little whiteboard, there's like 5 or 6, and then all of a sudden Bob Bell did another sale, and he's like, nah, and wrote on the wall.
He wrote it on the wall.
So, because they were getting boom, we're like, yeah, we're growing.
Much to the demise of Elliot, who had painted those walls. He was not happy about that.
I'm going to have to repaint those this weekend.
But it's pretty exciting when you go, like 4 sale month, 5 sale, 8 sale, 10 sale,
that
12
first
sale.
sale must have been a buzz as well, like after opening your own company and everything.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Keep the power on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Keep the power on, absolutely. You've gone through numerous market cycles, and obviously, the last one that we've been through, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but what's your take on what's happened? I mean, what are some of the things you've noticed? I know that you're quite an analytical person when it comes to the market. You've done a huge amount of study and know the history quite well. What do you think has happened, and where do you think it's going?
What do you reckon, Ryan, at the moment about the market? It's going pretty good, isn't it?
It's going pretty good, mate.
Yeah,
you've always got to be positive, optimistic.
Yeah. Sales volumes back up though.
Sales volumes are back up, mate. I reckon the best time to sell for all those vendors out there is going to be early next year. So let us know.
Great pitch. Great agent. Screw that one in there. I love it.
It's because it's obviously we've been through a couple of bad years in terms of, people say bad, but like bad years in volume. You see volume drop down. Percentage wise, it was way worse than the GFC. Like you look at 2007, I reckon it dropped back like 10% ish.
Yep.
But some of these houses come back 25, 30%. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't actually see as much media about the dropping back as, you saw a lot about prices coming back. But if that had been 2007, I don't know if it was more of like because it's so long ago, it would have been more in the papers and stuff about 30% drop. But you heard a lot back in 2007 about, I think it was Ireland.
Yes.
They had the massive drop, 30%, but we just had that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it swings and roundabouts. It's going back up now, and it's one of those things you just got to hold on and get through. I mean, there's been a lot of blood on the streets, as people were saying. There's been a lot of
cycles, right?
Yeah, a lot of big building companies and stuff going under, and but it happens every 10 years or so. And it just tests you, and you got to put that into the equations when you're doing your investments and know what's going to happen.
For the ones that are out there that are thinking of diving into the property investment game, that's something you're very experienced in as well. I know that the way that you approach it is, as you said before, is kind of like buy and hold. That's your model. Yeah. You think that's a good model to obtain coming into this next cycle of the market?
Yeah. Well, if you look, if it's like you question someone new coming in. Yeah. If you're new to the market, get it in right now. It's the best time ever. Well, maybe 6 months ago would have been better. Yeah. But it's like when, I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but it's like when no one's buying, that's the time you want to buy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a bit like crypto. You know, guys know crypto?
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
you bloody crypto.
Couple of NFTs.
But the thing with that is that's just like mega cycles, though. So it's like at the moment, it's coming back quite a bit. But
Bitcoin's on the up, isn't it?
it is. But like say a year ago,
Yes.
it was down at like 14,000. Everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin, oh, idiots, who would
Yeah,
buy that? It's like
yeah.
the best time ever.
Yeah.
Now it's like 2.5 times that. It's the same thing
Yeah.
in property. When everyone's like, oh, don't buy property, it's bad. Like, oh, interest rates are too high, and it's like that's the time you want to jump in.
Jump in, yeah.
Because I guarantee in a year or two, when interest rates come back a little bit and everyone's making heaps of cash, everyone's going to be like, oh, buy heaps of property,
100%.
and then you shouldn't.
Yeah, and it's funny because we literally had Mark Cook on for the last podcast, and he was saying the exact same thing
yeah.
that you are saying. You mentioned something before as well about you never had a desire to be like the number one kind of agent, big dog, even though you have hit quite a few real estate accolades. And in fact, I think during COVID, correct me if I'm wrong, you were the number one Ray White agent in New Zealand.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you were.
You definitely were.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was
Humble, I think so.
I think so, but I was definitely Facebook stalking you in the lead up to this, and there is a video of you.
We did tune in and watch it.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
right,
we
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But in saying that as well, and it might correlate to the sports stuff that we'll talk about with the footy later on, do you get a buzz out of like watching other people grow? Like you've trained a lot of real estate agents, you've hired a lot of people within your business.
good question.
Like, is that something that is rewarding as well for you?
Yeah, but then like there's always got to be something like selfish around your motivation. You can't be like, I just love watching other people succeed. I just think I like being in a team environment.
Great answer.
Like
Great answer.
personally, you know.
Yeah. What's the number one thing that you loved about running Ray White Kemeys Brothers?
Probably the social environment.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's not the only thing I miss, but that's the main thing I miss is like seeing guys.
Camaraderie.
Like you know, and just running into you guys every day, and then it's
Yep.
like all of a sudden it's been 2-3 weeks and you haven't seen the people that you work with every day and the friendships you make, and it's good.
It's a great answer, and look, it certainly is one of the core values of this company, has been culture, camaraderie, teamwork, as you said, and it's something that certainly has, Ryan, you'd be able to attest to that as well. You've been with us now for...
Into my sixth year now. Yeah, so 5 full
Would you say
years,
that's
mate.
the environment that you get around here?
100%, mate. Team environment for sure, which is great. That was it one of the things I saw from the outside? It probably was, actually. And I just heard a lot of people even talking about that as well, word on the street kind of thing. So it was very different to any other kind of real estate firm at the time, where it was like you got to hide your appraisals on your desk and all that kind of stuff, Whereas here it was just like, mate, you leave a stack of appraisals on your desk, no one's going to go through them, We're a team, everyone does well, so yeah.
I remember that being the ethos when we started. It didn't matter if you had the listing or if I had the seller, if whoever was doing it and doing it together. Same as when we would do our cold call nights. There was a buzz out of everyone being in the office.
Yeah, everyone doing it together.
And doing it together.
And I remember one of the first things we brought in was actually letting like everyone in the team know what someone wanted for their house, is it?
Yes.
Because I remember the old agency, and this is going back years ago, I'm sure it's changed.
Yeah.
But years ago, you'd be like, oh, how much do they want? And then the agent's like, oh, I don't know. And you're like, what? Like,
it's like, don't you want to get it sold?
Yeah.
No, but it's all like kind of hide it from each other and teamwork and...
Well, it's again, it's an evolving industry that certainly in the previous years was very cutthroat. It was very individual based because you're working on commission. I don't want you selling my properties. I want to get more money. Greed. Whereas here comes these 23, 25-year-old younger generation kids that are very heavy on the teamwork and stuff like that. So that model that you've actually created is certainly becoming the model of real estate today.
Well, and that's the thing as well. If you come to work, I'm sure you want to socialise with your colleagues and stuff, and it's like...
You've got to have a bit of a laugh, mate.
Yeah,
you got to have fun while you're working hard.
You can't just like turn up and it can't just be all about yourself and then no fun at all.
100%.
And I think, look, if you actually look at a couple of variables there, I remember number one when we first started, one of the targets, if we hit so many sales a month or what have you, can you remember what we had?
Oh, the fun fund.
We had the fun fund.
How good was that?
The fun
what was
fund.
that back then? About $1,000?
It was $1,000.
Maybe we need to bring that back.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
no. This is the
I
fun
reckon
fund now, mate. This
ask
is the fun
Elliot,
fund.
bring it back. Fun
Yeah,
fund.
well, ask Elliot.
Finally got the beer fridge fixed. Now, next thing is fun fund.
But it was cool because everyone was hustling super hard, and then we didn't have a lot of money in those days. We were all living together. If we hit the fun fund, it was like, right, we're going.
Yeah,
out.
and everyone
The boys
goes
are
out.
on. Everyone
And
loved
that was
it.
the thing, if like you did no sales or the guy that did 4 sales, everybody came, everybody got the
100%.
same experience,
Yep.
so it's a team thing, yeah.
And then also, when you look at the fit out of our offices here, corner of Cuba Street and Petone, corner of Cuba Street and Jackson Street in Petone, And one of the first things you guys did when you made the fit out, it's all open plan, it's all very social. You've got the bar leaner, you've got the kitchen. I mean, how many great awards nights have we had around there?
Yeah.
And it's that team environment again, isn't it?
Yeah, and we just wanted clients to be able to walk out the back as well and just socialise with us, and there's kind of nothing that we're hiding.
Yeah.
Because a lot of other agencies, you go in, there's all closed doors everywhere, and obviously we've got some contract rooms, don't we? So
yeah, but it's transparency at its best, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, and you do in an environment like this where we are. Some people are working 60 to 80-hour weeks. You want to be working with your mates and have that kind of camaraderie as you go through.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a wonderful way to see how the industry is evolving. All right, let's get on to the footy side of things, because this becomes more and more incredibly interesting to me, especially. At what point did you decide that, because you can't just you can and you can't, but you can't just go and become a coach that is as decorated and has as many accolades as what you have. You actually have to know what you're doing, I'm sure. Okay.
Sort of.
Well, I mean, as much as I'd love to say the under 11 Greytown Bobcats that
they did pretty well this year.
Had a great run this year. Great run this year. But talk to me about because you've done a bit of obviously the licensing stuff. How did you get into it? What sparked that? And talk to us about the start of your football coaching career.
Yet again, it was a bit of a random one. I just did my C licence for coaching. Didn't really think I was going to be a coach. I thought maybe in the future I'd do it, and then I did my ACL the next year.
You still hailed yourself as a player? Was that when you were playing 9-9 Prems?
Oh, yeah.
And thought that
I thought 33, 34, I'd probably crack the All Whites.
A-League's going to call you up. Phoenix starting. Yeah, it's going to happen. Tore your ACL.
Tore my ACL. That wrecked my career.
Dream's over.
At 30, I was going places. And then my mate called me up and said, why don't you come coach us at Wainui? And then I just started coaching at Wainui, and that was the first gig I got. And
talk to me about your first year of coaching. What was that like? Because you've got all these footy boys.
Yep.
Some of them out in Wainui. A few hooligans out there, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Wainui is the best though. The guys there are just legends. It was awesome. They obviously love the beers, they love the party, but the camaraderie they have is just epic. The times we had over the hill, man, was awesome.
Yeah.
Such a cool club. The community there's just legends.
First season, third on the table, I think.
Yeah, I think we came third. Yeah.
And then the second season took out the what's the competition?
Cap Prem. Yeah.
Cap Prem.
Yeah.
And promoted to the Central League.
Central League. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in 25 years.
Something like that.
A long time.
Yeah.
What did it feel like?
It was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was just one of those other things that you jump into, try to be successful at, and then just build towards that. And I think sport's one of those things that it's so easy to see if you're actually getting results or not.
Yeah.
There's always a loser and a winner. You can't in business sometimes you can justify. You're like, sort of we did all right because we didn't hit the target, but in sports you lost, mate.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
The correlation between obviously running and growing a very successful business, and then diving into the coaching scene, running and growing, a successful team, and we can talk about that with Olympic in just a minute. But what are some of the factors that go into that? Again, you talk about naivety, but was there some structure and strategy around how you were going to get the team to believe in you as the coach, and B, how they were, you were going to believe in them as players?
Yeah, I kind of just went on YouTube and looked up some training sessions.
Nice.
This is good
old YouTube.
Yeah. We learned a lot that first year of coaching. I got my mate Troy Denton, who coached me at Nine. So he came along and taught me a lot, and just getting the buy-in from the players. And it was basically the same as we did in the real estate company. You look at objectives for the team, and then the team has to know what the objective is, so everyone's working towards the same thing. So there's a lot of business principles that came into coaching.
Left at the top with Wainui.
Yeah.
Was there an opportunity to go to Olympic, or was that something, had you had a bit
how did
you transition into Olympic?
I just wanted some time off footy, and then it was probably 5-6 months later, guy in the barbers who cut my hair, he's a big Olympic man, and he was like, the coach wants you in to be the assistant coach, and I was like, all right. So then that kind of happened, so I got called in to do that. And
then from there, getting obviously the head coaching role. And talk to us a little bit, for those that don't know, about the Olympic Football Club, because obviously, as you said, Wainui, very strong supporter base there and great culture. Now you're coming into one of the most renowned football clubs in Wellington. Was there a bit of pressure there? Were you a bit freaked out, or were you just like, I got this?
No, I wasn't freaked out. I knew the pressure. You look at it, and it's they're a big Greek club, so the Greeks love to put pressure on all the coaches and the players, but so passionate about the club and the results
It's good
and stuff.
pressure,
So it's
eh?
good pressure. It's
Yeah.
not like bad pressure.
Yeah.
But I knew it was coming. So if you go in with one
Yeah.
eye open, it's all good. But if you went in thinking you're not going to get pressure, it would kill a lot of coaches.
For sure.
But I enjoyed all the pressure, and it's such a family club.
Yeah.
Everyone's in there supporting every weekend. You got massive crowds. It's primo.
I mean, they're one of the most enthusiastic supporter bunch ever find in Wellington football, if not New Zealand football. That's for
big
sure.
time. And it's one of those places as well. It's a bit like Wainui, where you go in after the game and it's just packed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you go to all these other clubs now, and you go in after a game and there's just the two teams there and maybe like 4 or 5 people drinking beers.
Yeah.
But the good thing with Olympic is I've literally got supporters,
Yeah.
which is quite hard to find in New Zealand football these days.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's it's not a plastic club at all, which is nice.
Does that culture reflect in the team's enthusiasm as well? Like, obviously they're very passionate, your players. Is that because of the support they get?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, you got all the Greeks on the bank yelling
For sure.
compliments and abuse,
Depending
on how you're playing.
There's some hairy language every now and again.
But the thing with the supporters is they're behind their team every weekend, and that makes the players want to stand up and perform,
Yeah.
And it's like the pressure obviously makes these guys better every week. If there's no one on the bank yelling and telling you to be better, and obviously when they score goals, there's sometimes there's 1,000 people screaming, and that makes them feel good.
For sure.
If there's only 4 or 5 people, it's a different feeling scoring a goal.
What year was it when everyone could hear old Chippo on the TV that year when he was up in
that
Auckland?
was last year, right?
Yeah.
He actually got banned from the final this year.
did
right?
he?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why he wasn't there?
Too loud.
I don't know that I was banned, but I was certainly picked up on Sky Sport last year with some, as I said, some hairy language. I'm kind of like the adopted cousin of the Olympic football team.
Mate, that was
not really a
great.
part of the tribe, but when I don the colours,
Passionate.
Passionate.
We actually did a video to give her in the build up to the final this year, and Chip was kind enough to put it all together. And
Is that the one you showed me?
Yes, that was the one I
did
showed
see
you
that.
after the
That was
Christmas
awesome.
party.
Mate, that got me going.
Yeah.
I was showing you the pump-up speech.
Yeah, it was after the work do.
There was a few goosebumps.
Oh,
Yeah. No, it was decent. It got the boys going, and they appreciated it.
So what was the transition in terms of the quality of football going from Wainui Armada to Olympic? Did you notice that different straight away? Because obviously Central League team.
Yeah, definitely.
And then did you have to adapt to that as well?
Yeah, the one main thing I noticed was just in coaching sessions at Wainui, the level of competitiveness. They were really competitive.
Yeah.
But they're kind of friendly.
Gotcha.
I remember I did one of the first sessions at Olympic, and I was looking around, I was like, these guys literally hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, they are swearing, they're like, and they hate me. They're swearing at me now. And then after the session, they're like, oh, yeah, there's a great session, Rupe, all good, yeah. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with these guys? It's just a different level of competitiveness.
Yep.
But then I worked out that you need that, and it's that was the thing. And their quality was obviously different level of quality. Some of the players at Wainui could have played in that team.
For sure.
But it was just the consistency of the level. Was a lot better. Easier and harder to coach.
Gotcha.
Different challenges.
Break that down. What do you mean by easier and harder?
Well, easier to coach in terms of football because most of them are very good footballers. For sure. So, but maybe harder to coach off the field sometimes. But that's where I think I was good as a coach. There was a lot of business stuff that helped rather than more the technical side of coaching, which I think a lot of New Zealand coaches some of them are very good at or think they're very good at, but they lack actually team environments and actually how to get the best out of players or groups. They don't actually look at that. They look at how many cones they're putting out.
For sure. That's a great point as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Dissect that a little bit as well. So would you say that your coaching style is less of the skill set based and more of like attitude, behavioural,
you always...
environments. And,
I think I'd be 90% around attitude and environment, and if you've got the right team and the right players, and if they play as good as they can, they're going to win the game. And then obviously your tactics have to come into that. But I think most coaches got it the reverse way around, is where they think 90% of it is their tactics, and then the players don't buy into it, they don't play for the coach, and then they lose, and then they wonder why. And it's like, well, you're concentrating on the wrong part of the game, which is the mental side of the game.
So taking that back and drawing a correlation between running a family business, and not just between you, your brother and Lou, but certainly the way that you approach the agents, and we're all one big family, very much so, and getting buy-in from them. Is that a similar thing that happened at Olympic for you? Were you guys like a family?
Yeah, we were. It was, obviously, I think we had a squad of maybe 35, 40, big squad.
Big team.
Yeah.
2 teams, and then we had probably 25 to 30 that came into National League. But when you've got that many males between the age of 18 and 30, there's a lot of testosterone.
Yeah, I bet, mate.
So, controlling a group like Ray White is a lot easier.
Okay.
Yeah, because you've got
interesting now.
You've got younger people, older people, women, males.
Yeah.
You know, but
bit
it's
of a
like
mix of everything.
in football, you've got literally
35
just
savages.
young dudes that want to kill each other at training. You know, and there's most of them are egotistical,
And prove a point. Yeah.
But it was always great fun, and it was actually cool leading them down, like, and getting to a point as well now that I'm 35 and actually being able to be hoping to give some of these guys advice around what they're doing off the pitch and stuff as well.
Yeah,
That's great too.
Yeah.
So as I said, you've been a great mentor, especially to me. I know Ryan's looked up to you as a mentor as well.
Absolutely.
Is it harder to try and do the off the field stuff as opposed to the on the field stuff? Like,
Uh,
because you've got to get those guys to be vulnerable in that position.
Yeah,
situation.
it's easier in coaching because you can only pick 11 players.
For sure.
It's easier to help the guys that you're picking week in, week out.
Yeah.
Because it's like anything. They instantly like you more, even though they won't admit it.
Yeah.
They like you more because you're the one backing them every week. So then that's easier for them to open up. It's harder for the guys that are missing out on the squad or maybe on the fringes because it's harder to build the relationship.
Yeah.
It'd just be the same in real estate if I was getting X amount of listings a week and I'm giving them all to Chip. And you're missing out, Ryan, every week. You're probably going, why doesn't this guy like me as well?
What am I doing?
Where's my leads, man?
My leads, mate. Where's my leads?
It's easier for those guys,
One of the things I also noticed, you spoke about Troy, who was your Troy Denton, your assistant coach for Wainui Armada. And when you came into Olympic and took on the head role, you got big Scoot Doggy Dog Scott Roche to come
legend of all legends,
come and join you.
Yep.
It was also Scoot Doggy Dog Scott Roche who was one of the first agents you hired at Ray White Kemeys Brothers.
Smart, eh?
It's very smart.
Success after success.
Success after success.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that process. What made you make that decision? Was it based on his previous coaching history, or was it just...
No, it wasn't coaching history. It was yet again that 90-10 rule where he'd concentrate on the people more than the football.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think like winning National League, that's kind of a testament to Scooter. And he's like, I know all the time that people say about Scooter and he'll say it about himself, I'm not that good of an assistant coach, and because he likes to portray that I'm not on the football side, but I think he's the best assistant coach in New Zealand because he's so good with people.
For sure.
And it's like, and the players know that too. All the players respect him so much. And he brings that element that is really hard to find if you've got a super serious assistant coach and you've got a super serious head coach.
Yeah.
It's just shit vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing coming to work. If it's shit vibes, you don't want to be there.
100%. The moment that you don't like walking in the door, and the moment you don't, get the right environment, the right culture, the right trust in either your business partners or in this case for you, the team.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work, is it?
Yeah, and me and Scoots always have a laugh about it too, because in the National League final we were looking over at the other bench and we're cracking up because here you've got a real estate agent and Scooter's a roofer. And,
is he a roofer now?
Yeah. And I was a decorated Capital 2 football player in Wellington. Scooter played a few times at under-19s. And then we look over at the other bench at Auckland City and you've got Albert Riera, who's a Phoenix legend.
Yep.
He's played multiple caps. Then you've got Ivan Visilic, who's the assistant coach, who's got more caps for New Zealand than I do, Capital 2 Nino.
Wow.
But me and Scoots always crack up because we're like, this is a mismatch.
Yeah.
And then we beat them 2-0, which is great. But
how good, mate.
they're awesome guys as well. Like Riera is a legend and they're great to battle with. But it just cracks me up because there's different skill sets there.
But isn't that insane? Like, I love that. You've got a real estate agent and a roofer that just took Wellington Olympic to the National League, won it, and you're up against some of the most decorated football players and coaches in the country.
Yeah.
So
it's good buzz.
That's insane, mate.
Great
That's
buzz.
insane.
Yeah, one of the main things that I wanted to try to teach the players, well, it's not all about tactics.
Yeah.
But you can't go to a group of guys, I can say it now because I'm not the coach, but you can't go to a group of players like that and say, it's not about tactics, guys. Because at that level, they all think it's tactics. But it's literally about the group of players working together.
I think something real interesting there as well, when we go back to the episode 2 that we have with Mark Cook, is that building his successes and the people that he surrounded himself with, which was his friends and his boys and people that he trusted, and people that could do the job. But then you also talking about your successes in the real estate game, like obviously having you coming through and then obviously Scoot with the football and everything like that. There's some similarities there. For sure. Really interesting. It's cool.
You got to have people around that you trust and get along with that.
Yeah, we were curious, mate. What's the thought process and like when you get up in the morning on game day?
Yeah.
How do you go through that? What are you telling the boys? What's the mindset? Take us through that.
Like a big game or a normal game or
Like a big game.
big game?
Big game.
For a big game. Basically, wake up, check my messages. 4 messages from Scooter Roach freaking out.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
How good.
Are you freaking out as well, though?
Yeah, it depends on it was actually quite funny. So, Scoots freaks out in the bigger games.
Yeah.
I actually freak out in the small games that you need to win. Like, you have to win.
Yeah,
Like, it's
right.
embarrassing
Got
if you
ya.
lose.
When you say
Yep.
have to win, not necessarily, is that like points wins, or is that more like
Expectation win. No, like you're playing no offense to Wanganui, great club,
Yep.
but you're playing Wanganui away with Olympic, who's top of National League.
Yep.
If you lose that game, that's embarrassing.
Yep.
People are like, what are they doing?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Basically, you get up, everything's done pretty much, because you got like
Yep.
Kitman, Legend, and then he sets up everything.
Yep.
We've got a guy College who sets up all the changing rooms as well. So you
Yep.
go in, and then you've got all your set pieces done. We send out
Yep.
match packs to the players the day before, so they've
Yep.
got all their set pieces.
Yep.
But it's interesting, like with National League, it's kind of just they've got their game plan, and you kind of leave them to it. There's not too much you do. Like you don't try to overwhelm them with information.
Yeah.
In terms of the team, they've got their game.
The players
They've got their
themselves.
game plan. They know how we
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you just kind of leave them to it. Like if you just
And are they
overload
kind
them.
of- Sorry, are they
No,
kind
no,
of
you-
in the zone as well? Like on that day? Like if you're trying to talk to the players, are they just like zoned in?
Yeah,
You know,
you
or
got.
are they-
It's interesting, because like
Yeah.
everyone approaches sport differently, and I think
Yeah.
that's something I learned as a coach as well. Because when in life I get quite like it's like say Chip, so Chip can jack me up with his big speeches.
Yeah.
But then you get other people that are like, "Whoa, Chip, man,
Yeah,
I don't
for
need
sure.
that. I need to actually
Yeah.
listen to jazz on my headphones,
Yeah.
get in my zone."
yeah,
So I actually realised
Yeah.
like everyone's got their different way of getting up
Yep.
for a certain thing. So
Yep.
it was actually about being like, because in my first year at the Nui, every speech I was like, "Let's go get them."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I realised like not every player needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really about like delivering that for some players that need it, but then also giving other players the space they need to just relax and chill and yeah, because you'd see some of our guys, they might just go sit outside for 5 minutes by themselves. And the first time I was like, "What's that weird?"
You alright, bro?
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh no, he's actually just trying to get a
That's,
breather."
that's
Yeah,
them
yeah,
getting
yeah.
in the zone. That's their way.
Yeah.
That's interesting as well. The way that you go from like the generic, here's the team speech, to actually understanding the needs of the individual, and that
Yeah.
also correlates into real estate because we know that this is a people business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same as when you sit across in an appraisal.
100%.
From one couple or one individual, then you go to another appraisal, and it's a completely
You've got to
different
adapt.
environment.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to adapt to that. And
Yeah.
certainly, and I'm glad that you used the example of Chip McCabe because I've lost a lot of business at the table because I'm not the vibe. I've won a lot of business at the table because I'm like, yep, this guy's pumped up, he's jacked, he's ready to go.
Yep.
He's a Mentos and a Diet Coke bottle. And then other people just close the door and afterwards go, well, there's no way that guy's he's crazy. But, let's call it what it is.
But at the end of the day, you got to be yourself though, Chip.
You've
don't
gotta
you?
be yourself.
If you
100%,
change
mate.
yourself and you go,
Mate,
then you kind of just mellow yourself down to just a bullshit kind of thing.
But that's the thing, and that was something that I remember you taught me very, very early on was you're not going to win them all, but certainly be yourself and back yourself.
You got to
Yeah.
go
If you
because
do that, mate,
Yeah.
and hey, $150 million worth of sales later, 1.7 billion under the company banner, not doing too bad. So, away we go. I want to talk about the National League final. We were all watching in suspense. It was a hell of a game.
What a game.
I mean, what a game. Talk to me. We were 0-0 at half time.
yeah,
We were talking about this the other night at the Christmas party, and we were trying to understand 0-0 at half time, tough first half. Auckland City had their moments.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you say in the changing rooms, mate? What was the buzz like? What was the
Yeah.
feel like? Like, were the team, were they on, or was there a few hairy moments? There we
Sorry.
go. Look at
There
that.
it
That
is.
was perfect time
There
for
it
this chat.
yeah. Came in half time, nil. The boys are pretty focused there. They weren't.
Yeah.
I didn't see too much stress or anything. I normally leave them for like 3 or 4 minutes, let them kind of chill out, do
Yeah.
their thing. And I walked in and then just said to them, I was like, "It's pretty good, boys.
Yep.
What was the score last year in the final at half time?" They're like,
Were they up 2-0?
they're like, "Oh, we're 2-0 down." I was like,
That's
"It's
right.
nil, boys.
Yeah,
We're going to win the
yes,
National League. It's all
yes.
good."
Yeah.
It's all good.
Love
Yeah,
the confidence.
it's all
love
good.
the confidence.
But
Yeah.
kind of like going in at 0 at half time, we knew we had a lot of guys on the bench that could do the damage as well. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like a, I don't think it wasn't like a big speech or anything. It was kind
Yeah,
of the boys knew this year they're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
And the stats came out as well for the final, and we had something ridiculously low. Like it's embarrassingly low, like 37% possession or
Yes.
something. Well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
terrible.
All right.
Yeah.
But it felt like that as well.
Yeah.
But that's what I go on about as well in terms of like the tactics and the way you play and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we won that game 2-0. And the goal of football is to score more goals than the opposition.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then everyone starts looking at the stats. Oh, yeah, but you didn't control the game. I'm like, yeah, but we got the trophy.
Yeah, but we won.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they think that's like a results-driven thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got to look at it. It's different as well. If you're not getting the results, then people can say it's because you're not controlling the game or you're not doing that.
Yeah.
But if you're getting the results, you go, well, that's the whole concept of
It's the
winning.
results that count, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so. But no, yeah, the boys were focused at halftime, and I kind of knew they were going to go out and do it.
Yep.
So you had that belief? You thought that this because I remember when
had
you
the
were saying
confidence.
to me, we've made it through to the National League. I want to put this video together. I want to get these boys jazzed up. And even when I was speaking to you on the phone, I felt like there was a tickle in your voice where like you were dialed in. You were like, "Nah, we're gonna take this."
Yeah, because I think last year was the year we got to the grand final of the National League.
And it was a 2-1. It was 2-1?
3-2.
3-2, sorry.
Yeah,
3-2.
So really close.
So super close.
But we didn't beat Auckland City all last year.
Yep.
They beat us every single time.
And you beat them this year in Auckland.
We beat them twice, drew with them once, and they beat us once.
Yep.
In a very decisive game. But
Yes.
but yeah, it was like coming, you know? Like you could kind of
Yeah, you could
tell
feel
that
it.
it was coming.
Yeah.
So it was quite nice to, especially when I knew it was our last game in Scoots and we're sitting there and it was
Yeah.
like to turn the screw on Auckland City. Because
Because hadn't they been like, they hadn't lost that in how long, wasn't it?
so the way the National League works is you have a league.
Yep.
So at the end of the league, the top two, then so like it's a bit like NRL.
Yes.
You have the minor premiership.
Yes.
Yep.
So they hadn't not won the minor premiership since 2013.
Wow.
Far
So we're the
out.
first team. So other teams had beaten them, but only in the grand final.
Yes.
But to beat them in the grand final, it's one game. So it's like you get a bit of luck, you know. But like no one's ever beaten them in the minor premiership for over 10 years. So it's pretty
Look at that.
pretty good to do that.
Talk to me about, you got the win, obviously. Cracker goal in that last from Jack.
Jack Henry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jack Henry in the last, the dying seconds of the game.
Mate, that was unreal to watch.
Salt
Yeah.
in the wound.
Oh, it was
like,
about
"How's it going?"
3 minutes to go, and he
Yep.
and he put his hands up and sub me.
Yeah.
And man, Scoot's like, we've got no subs
There's
left,
no
bro. We've used all our windows. And he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because we didn't even know if he'd be able to make a 45, 60 minutes, let alone 90.
Yeah.
And he's so tight. He told me he was about to rip something. So when that's why he just kind of trickled it across
Yeah.
because he couldn't
Yeah.
really smack it that hard.
And it was a trickle.
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of trickled
But
in
he
at
was
the
so
end.
sore, so we had to put him up front.
Yeah.
And he couldn't run
And
properly.
then the final whistle blows.
Look at that.
Elation. What's that like, mate? Like to be at the pinnacle of New Zealand football, to lose it 1 year, to come back, and I'd also like to say unbeaten in the National League this year. You know, you're on the back of a 76% win record in 2 years, coach of the year, two times as head coach Central League. You won it as an assistant coach as well. But what was it like to win the National League, mate? Like, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was awesome. Just obviously 2 whole years as head coach leading up to that point.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's all like perception of where you're at as well. It was the exact same. It's funny because winning National League was the exact same feeling as winning Cap Prem with Wainui.
Beautiful.
Yep.
You know, because it's like that Wainui Cap Prem was my National League at that time,
sure.
you know, and,
Yeah.
and that's why as well. It's like
Yeah.
anything you're doing. You're getting better, you're chasing those goals, and you got to
Yep.
get those small buzzers because I guarantee, like, you go, oh, National League Grand Final winner, awesome, and it's like, what happens when you win the Premier League? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to look at National League and go, oh, yeah, but it would feel exactly the same. You know,
Yeah.
it's just those stepping stones and
Yep.
where you're going.
Like chasing the dragon.
You're always chasing the dragon. yeah.
It's like your
What do you
first
mean
sale.
chasing the dragon?
Like, well, in real estate.
Oh,
it's
just
like,
meaning with the bid.
Your first sale.
Yeah.
You
Well,
remember
first
the
appraisal. You get your first appraisal.
First appraisal, first
Yeah.
listing,
Yeah.
first sale.
Yeah, it's just
You're always,
anything.
you know,
When you
Yeah,
when you make a
you're
big
buzzing.
goal, and
You're chasing.
Yeah.
that's why sport's beautiful because you work so hard to get to a goal. And me and Scooter were actually sitting there cracking up because we're like, what are we doing, eh?
Yeah.
Like, there's like
Yeah.
thousands of people here.
Yeah.
We're watching 22 males
Yeah.
kick a ball into a stupid net.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this all year,
Yeah.
like 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And now we're going mental because we just kicked a ball in the net.
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Kick the ball in the
it
net
means
more times
absolutely
than-
nothing. All sport is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, you look at basketball, like in the little tiny little circle when you're throwing a ball through how many times, and then
Yeah.
they play it for like 20 years. It's like, what are you doing with your life? But it's awesome. It's the
But it's
best
awesome.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, like,
it's a buzz.
It's unexplainable. How
Yeah, yeah,
awesome
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it begs the $1 million question. So you have obviously taken your stripes with Olympic, a wonderful career as coach there, retiring from Olympic as coach,
yeah, all done there.
and choice behind that.
Just kind of end of an era. I think with teams, it's hard to do more than I was there 2.5 years, so it's hard to do more than the 3 years. Because like I was saying, you only pick 11 players, and it's like a certain amount of players you can keep happy, and there's only a certain amount of players around, and it's like you've got to make sure that the team's always growing, and you're leaving it in a place where a coach can actually make it better. Because I think once it goes on the decline, it's hard for another coach to come in. So it's been left in a really good place, and Paul Eiffel's come in. Hopefully that's not the announcement that was meant to be made, but
That's all right.
hey, you heard it here first on
the podcast.
Properties bloody podcast.
News.
Yeah.
Breaking news on the Now Selling podcast.
No, but he's a legend from Christchurch United. So and his playing days at Wellington Phoenix, he was coaching at Christchurch United. So he's going to come in. All the boys will love him, and hopefully they can take it to the next level.
And your coaching career in terms of footy, are you putting that on like hiatus for now? Will it be something that you'll continue in the future?
I'd like to continue it. I'm going to do my A licence next year.
What does that entail? What do you have to do for that?
Just got to go to training courses pretty much for a couple of weeks of the year, and then video
in New Zealand. Or
in New Zealand, yeah. Or I might do it in Aussie, but I'm not too sure yet.
Sarah, have you told?
Oh, and then
Sarah, when she watches this,
Paul Eiffel's a new head coach. Haven't told Sarah we're doing my training.
he's like, ugh.
Have another beer, Roops. Get it in you.
I only had 1.5 or 2.5 maybe.
Yeah.
And then do that, and then kind of see where things. A bit like last time, kind of just see what pops up. And if something pops up, it pops up. If not, who cares?
If the A-League came to you and they said, right, let's say, I don't know, we won't say Phoenix because that's too easy, but let's say if Perth Glory come to you and they say, mate, maybe not Perth Glory, if one of the A-League teams that you do like comes to you and says, Rupert, we know you, we love you, we need you, when can you start? Would that be something that you'd have a look at?
Yeah, be in there.
Yeah.
Oh, as long as Scoots came as well.
that would be in the contract.
Yeah. Sorry, Shaz.
Yeah. But there's obviously still a passion there in terms of...
Oh, yeah. If there was a coaching role higher, 100% I'd do it. But, just see how it goes. There's the old Auckland A-League team coming up.
Yes.
Bill Foley.
Have they assigned a coach yet?
No, but there's some good candidates. The thing with the A-League though, Chip, you got to have your pro license.
Okay.
So it's two above me.
So you've got a couple.
I'm quite down here.
You're on the way, mate. You're on the way,
mate.
So I got to get qualified first.
You're on the way, mate. You're on the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Taking a break then from the coaching side of things, it begs the question which we were talking about.
Yeah. Before we wrap it all up, Chippo, we had a
time,
big old
mate.
question, mate.
Hit him with it, mate. Hit him with it.
What does the future hold for Rupert Kemeys? Let us in.
Let us in.
Yeah, we want to know.
Let us in.
I'll probably come back here next year
Oh, there it is. It's going to be out there, mate.
for another guest appearance.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I thought you'd be
You're
selling something, mate.
welcome back. You're welcome back.
Cheers.
We might even we might even like just we'll do like an honorary name instead of now selling. We can do like an honorary Friday shout.
Yeah.
Just if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Season 2 Friday shout maybe one day.
Hey, I've got podcasts all over. I'm like a podcast like little.
You do. You've got a few of them.
No, I might just come back in here. I don't think I'll come back in and like sell massive amounts of real estate or anything, but obviously running another few businesses, and
of course,
might just perch up and get the old desk going in here and, and dabble a little bit. We've got guys like Ryan in the business now, and I mean, hopefully help you out and see where the business can go.
Absolutely,
it's
mate.
looking pretty positive around here. So
from what
the bar fridge is fixed now, so it's a good time to come.
Yeah, but now we've got the food fridge we've got to worry about.
And then the main fridge broke, and now the bar fridge is
the food
lunch fridge. But we'll get it. We will get it sorted for you. I love that, because what you're saying is you might be coming back for the buzz. That's the word we've been throwing.
Yeah.
Come back for the buzz.
Yep.
Obviously, a different environment from the footy thing that you've been in, but come back for the team, for the camaraderie.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have you.
Yeah, well, it's a cool team here, so it'd be awesome to come back and
mate.
hang out for a little bit. And
I don't want to be too biased, but it's the best real estate team, and I would go as far to say the country. So
100%.
If you want to come lift some trophies over here, we're more than
man.
more than happy to do so.
Perfect.
Before we go, I want 2 pieces of advice from you, given the fact that you have such a well-decorated CV that we've already polished off. First and foremost, real estate. Lots of real estate agents listen to this podcast. Advice for anyone new looking to get in the game: what should they do? How should they do it?
Probably like I was saying, just be naive.
Yes.
Don't worry about any of these old guys and girls saying that they're the best in real estate and you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Just go out there and just smash it, There's no reason why. Don't overthink it. Just get out there and just try everything and be yourself, like you're saying, Chippo. And it's like just be yourself, and I'm sure it'll go well for you. But jump in. There's heaps of money to be made, and it can create such a good life for you, and if you want to get into real estate.
100%.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lifestyle, so I love that. And then lastly, on the footy side of things, what would you say to anyone out there that's listening? They're inspired by your coaching career. They might want to give coaching a go. What's the first protocol? What should they do? Is it the same? Is it be naive and just have a crack? Or
Yeah, just be naive and just have a crack. Just get into it and then see if you're good at it. And if you enjoy coaching, just get into it.
Love the approach.
And just don't try to be Pep Guardiola, whatever you do. Pep Guardiola is the coach of Man City. And it's a plague of New Zealand football that 95% of coaches, not 95, but a lot of guys want to be him.
Gotcha.
Yep.
But you're not coaching Man City, so just relax. And
for sure.
And if you like, you're a coach, Chip, under 11 Bobcats.
I was a coach this year. It was my first year of coaching the under 11 Greytown Bobcats.
And you enjoy it?
I loved every minute of it.
Exactly. And that's the thing is as well. You need
Except
more.
for when my son had meltdowns on the field. That was hard to deal with. But, again, it's an attitude thing. It's a good thing. So.
But we need more community coaches. We need coaches out there. Just enjoy it and just go out there and do it. If you want to be a coach, put your hand up because it's like we're not in the Premier League.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you think, am I good enough to be? It's like, come on, man, just put your hand
there
up.
and have some
We
fun
need more coaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. It's been, I could sit here for hours, mate, and chew your ear off. But I want to say first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. I honestly believe you are definitely going to be a recurring guest and maybe host. Can we have?
We can do whatever we want, mate.
We can do whatever we want.
I got to say, this is better than the Friday show.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up there.
The Friday show.
Whoa.
The Friday show.
Hey, you didn't start like that.
Let's not.
Yeah, I know. Well, now I've sat here for a
while. I'm
while.
my Friday show at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good. But Chip, what were we, 26, 27?
I
You're
think
probably 35.
Maybe a few less beers on this one.
Yeah. This one's a little bit more.
Chip, we were quite young and it was a shambles.
Well, to be fair, I'm very happy that we've managed to get you into a position where you can actually be in the public eye. Because remember, we had to do the Friday shout in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Because you weren't, obviously accustomed to the conference.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. God, it's quite a nervous Nelly, wasn't I?
You were a little bit of a nervous Nelly. Now look at it. You're sitting on the corner of Cuba and there's about 5,000 cars have gone by. And So anyway, thank you so much. We're definitely going to get you back on. Ryan Baker, my actual co-host, mate. Always a pleasure.
Mate, it's been great. It's been great to have you on, Root. I think we talked about this since when we first kind of kicked it off, right?
We did, yeah. It was always
a couple of episodes ago, so we've been talking about it for a while, mate. So it's been great to have you here.
I will say before we go, so in the lead up to the National League, I said to Ryan, I was like, we'll get Roops on. He'll be a great guest.
Yeah.
Like, he's got so much insight, business, real estate, footy. And then when you made the National League, I was like, I'll tell you what, we'll ask him after the National League final.
Yeah.
Because if we'd asked him beforehand and then they'd lost and then you came on, it might have been a different buzz.
And I got an apology as well because I actually, Ryan messaged me last night saying, bro, one of my mates pulled out of the sauna and ice bath tomorrow. Do you want to do that? But I actually had to say, look, I've got to look after my daughter.
Yep, very cool.
If I don't look after my daughter, I'm not going to be able to drink beers later.
Yes.
So I put beers before health, and that's bad.
You go. And that's priority, though.
But it's sorry about that, mate.
So, it's kind of Friday shout right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why our podcast was a shambles.
Yeah.
You can find it on YouTube, Friday Shout, Chip and Rupert. This has been the Now Selling Podcast, Episode 3. Thank you so much, Rupert Kemeys, Ryan Baker. And as they say in the game, we are going